I'm Peter.
And I'm Lindell.
And we're here to show you Schwarzkopf's Catwalk to Curb looks.
We've taken the trends from Autumn/Winter 15 and we're going to see how it comes down to the street look. This is Lindsay, and we've had a discussion about what kind of blonde she wants to achieve. And a lot of girls have got this problem. A regrowth, some gold mid-lengths, and some very platinum ends. So we've decided to go with the live colour, Absolute Platinum. This will give us a nice, crisp, clean blonde, but we will tone it so that we get the really icy look from the runway.
And to complement the colour, I'm going to create a look which is very sleek and straight, which is something that was very dominant on the catwalks last season. And for the second look, I thought we could do something which presents two different textures in the hair. So we're going for something very, very clean and pure around the face. And I'm going to rub in a little bit of movement into the hair and maybe a little bit of a wave through the ends with some of the products from the Got2b range.
For the application process on Lindsay's hair, we're going to use the Absolute Platinum from the root down the centre, following the clean lines you've made with your partings. And you can work it into the regrowth as much as you need to. Processing time about 35 minutes, then we'll be able to rinse her off and we'll be using her toner.
So we've just rinsed off Lindsay's hair, and here we have the colour in its wet stage. And I'm now going to apply some product from the Got2b range, which also happens to be one of my favourite products from the range. It's got 10 benefits. The bits that I really like about it are that it gives a lot of shine, it hydrates the hair, and it gives it a nice smoothness when we work it with the heat from the hairdryer, and it kind of keeps it hydrated throughout the process. And I'm going to work it through the hair with my fingers and get it especially into the ends and mid-lengths, because that's where the hair needs that extra bit of help. So I've just finished blow drying Lindsay's hair with the hairdryer and the round brush, and now I'm going to, as the next step, take the straighteners through it really quickly just to give it that extra bit of shine and perfection when it comes to that sleek look. So I'm just going to do that in chunky sections. I'm not going to think about it too much because we want to keep the hair looking phenomenal. And I can feel how the Got2b All-Star 10-in-1 is working its magic on the hair. So to finish the look, I'll be using a little bit of this Got2b Rise and Shine hairspray, which I really like just because it gives it that gentle hold, keeps away the flyaways, but it also adds that thin layer of gloss to the surface of the hair to really kind of show off the sheen of the colour. And on this side, it's really important to me that it sits really tight against the head and it's tucked nicely and cleanly behind the ear, just to create that flattened, graphic look. And last but not least, I'll be using one of my favorite products from the Got2b range, which is this Got2b Oilicious Dry Oil Mist, which is great just because it works on any hair type, and even on fine hair, it doesn't overdo it, and it just kind of gives the hair that little bit of extra hydration, but also adds this phenomenal shine to the surface of the hair. So just a gentle mist of this. And here we have a sleek and straight look, a perfect example of Catwalk to Curb on Lindsay's hair, showing off that amazing color. So for the next look for Lindsay, we are going to create something which has two textures. So we want it to be quite smooth and straight and clean around the front and then the back. And over here, we're going to work a little bit of texture and a little bit of a rubbed in kind of feel to it. And to start off the hairstyle, I'm going to use a little bit of this Got2b Mind-Blowing Express Spray, which is a phenomenal product just because it's got a heat protector in it. It conditions and detangles the hair. Best of all, it makes the hair dry a lot faster. So I'm just working a large set of tongs through the hair just to give it that little bit of a bend. I'm keeping the ends out and I'm not focusing on the roots at all, just because I want there to be this small kink just in the midsection of the hair. And I'm now going to work a tiny little bit of this Got2b Powder Foil product into the hair, which is fantastic just because it gives the hair that guts and root volume where we want it. Sprinkle a little bit of it into the crown. And just by giving the hair a bit of a shake and a rub, we can really feel that texture. And now, just to finish it off, I'm going to use a little bit of the Got2b Rise and Shine Soufflé. I'm using a very small amount of it, just like that. And I'm just going to shake it through the ends, just to give the hair that little bit of definition. And there we have it. Another look taken from the catwalks and translated into something street-friendly. Catwalk to Curb.
I love what you've done, Peter. Lindsay's hair looks great, and it really complements the colour. I think both looks were really beautiful. I'm glad to see that the toner has really emphasised that icy platinum and given her the really nice runway look we were after.
Yeah, and I think this look in terms of styling works really well just to show off the colour nicely. And I think this is a really nice way of translating this look from the catwalk that we've seen onto the streets.
This is Bunny, a girl after my own heart, someone who loves a lot of colour in her life. I'm quite excited because Bunny's tried a lot of things, but this season she wants to go for the hot runway trend of being red. Schwarzkopf has an amazing array of different reds, so it's going to probably be something personal that you decide. But today we chose together Real Red. It's going to be super bright, and the best thing I think will happen is that she'll just feel like alive.
And to complement that colour, I want to create something, first of all, that has a very boyish reference and is quite easy and quite relaxed and very touchable. So we're going to go for something that is kind of tight around the sides with like a bit of a quiff, a bit of height around the top. And for the second look, I wanted to do the complete opposite, and I wanted the hair to kind of move forward and kind of play with the face shape and manipulate it a little bit, but still in a very, very flattering way. And I'm going to create both those looks with a variety of products from the Got2b range.
Now we're going through Bunny's application. With Bunny's hair, she's got regrowth and existing colour. So we're going to apply it to her roots first and then take it through the ends. When you're applying to the front of your hair, be really careful around your hairline. You don't want to get yourself a nice red forehead.
So we've got Bunny here now, and the hair has just been rinsed off, and we can see it's a very vibrant red. And for the hairstyle I'm going to do on Bunny, I want it to be this kind of boyish thing with a little bit of height on top, with lots of texture, and it being really nice and tight and clean on the sides to kind of emphasize the height, but also to really kind of show off the different layers of the color that we've got going on. To start off, I'm going to use Got2b mind-blowing quick shape mousse, little shake. I'm going to put a decent amount, like a small apple, I would say. I'm going to work that through my palms and then through Bunny's hair, just like that. Kind of work it into the roots a little bit up top, just because we want to create a bit of hold there, that we kind of get the right result. And now I'm going to blast dry it first with my hairdryer and with my fingers, and kind of lifting it up a little bit as I go along up top, just to kind of work the height and volume into the top of the hair already, and then keeping the sides nice and smooth. So we've just used the hairdryer. I just kind of moved it with my hands and my fingers and given it a bit of a swirl. And now, to finish the look, I'm going to use a little bit of this little magic dust, which has Got2b powderful. It really gives the hair guts and hold in the roots where we want it. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of this through the top of the hair. I'm just going to work it in with my fingers. And now I just want to kind of shape the hair organically. I'm going to use a tiny little amount of this Got2b Glued Blasting Freeze Spray, which is a very, very good hairspray just to keep things into place. It's got a really good hold to it. So we just want to make sure the sides sit nice and tight, just a little bit, and we want to see the textures in the hair going on. A little bit throughout the top to keep that height. And here we have the quiff, another perfect example of how to wear your hair from catwalk to curb. For the second look, I want to do something which is a little bit more referring to the bob thing. So the hair's going to be coming forward, it's going to play with the face shape a little bit, and it's going to be just very, very soft and pretty. And to start off this hairstyle, I'm going to use a small amount of this Got2b All-Star 10-in-1. I really like this product just because it's got 10 different properties that we all really, really like. It gives the hair some shape and shine, and it protects it, and it moisturizes it. And I'm just going to use a small amount, only about this much. I'm going to distribute it through the hair, and I can already feel it working. It kind of softens the texture a tiny bit, and I know it's just going to make it more manageable for me when I'm blow drying it. Now I'm going to use a very small amount of the Got2b Oilicious Dry Oil Mist, and I'm just going to apply it with cold air from the hairdryer. I'm just going to kind of gently blast it through the ends. And by blasting it through the hair with the hairdryer on a cold setting, you just get a very small amount of it just through the ends, but it gives the hair that lovely definition that we can see over here right now. And to keep it all where it is right now, I'm just going to finish off with a little bit of the Got To Be Happy Hour hairspray, which just gives us the right amount of hold. That looks great. I love this look. And there you have it, another look taken from Catwalk to Kurb.
Bunny, you look amazing. Great job, Peter. I'm really so excited to see this colour come out like this. Schwarzkopf's the range of reds is amazing. This real red is really cool, and I think that it really suits you, Bunny. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, and I'm very pleased with the little styling result we've got going on here with that texture we worked in with all those amazing products from the Got To Be range. And I think it kind of just shows off the colour nicely, and the two things complement each other very well.
This is Hayley. We've talked today about her ombre colour that she's been rocking for a while. I think a lot of girls have this question, it's what happens when you get to the end of your ombre? You've just got a little bit of lightness left on the ends and you've got all this regrowth. You want to update it somehow. And thinking about autumn, winter and looking what was happening on the runway was still a really big trend, but a lot of it was kind of toned down a little. So I kind of want to give the marbled effect a go and maybe make it look like your hair goes from a dark into the light in a more sort of gentle way rather than so stop-start. And to do that, we spoke about using the colour mask. This will be really easy to put on and it's really conditioning, so it'll make actually your ombre look a little bit healthier as well. We're going to choose 700 because we want something nice and neutral and just to reflect a nice shine and just give it a little bit of a pump.
And I thought to complement that colour, I think we should work somewhere around the 70 strength, which is massive at the moment. And as Hayley has already got that soft, long fringe, I think this is kind of like the perfect way to start. But then we're going to work in a little bit of a pushed-in texture into the top and then fading out into like soft, wispy ends that it looks a little bit lift-in. And for the second look, I thought we could do a messy ponytail that still has that kind of easy elegance about it. So something that kind of sits nicely around the head and creates a really nice head shape with a bit of height around the crown and then fades out into this kind of soft textured ponytail with lots of definition. And both those looks I'm going to achieve with some of the products from the Got To Be range.
We're about to apply Hayley's colour. We are going to make sure that we're going to keep the colour away from the roots this time. So as I explained before, if you've got this old ombre look and you want to sort of just lift it up, the amazing thing to use is this mask. It's really easy to apply, so we're just going to go into the mid-lengths and mush it all in. So we've given it a nice vigorous shake here, Hayley, just making sure that we're going to get the colour to a nice creamy consistency. Careful when you open that lid. You can see it's really nice and creamy. And then we're going to section your hair just to make it easy to do the application. I always like to use these kind of cobweb shapes, section the front away from the back, and that way you feel like you're in more control. When we do this application, I'm going to actually start from the underneath, get some of that colour on my fingers, and apply it as I'm just almost putting a mask on the hair. And it even feels like that. It feels like really conditioned. Kind of just rub it into the bits before the ends start to be lighter. So it's almost giving yourself a really nice long regrowth, keeping the mid-lengths nice and creamy with product, and keeping out the ends. Once we finish applying all over the head, we'll leave that on for a processing time of 30 minutes.
Right, Hayley has just come over here with her hair rinsed off the colour, and I'm now going to create a look which is very 70s inspired, which is a massive trend at the moment on the catwalks, and I'm going to show you how this look translates from catwalk to Kurb. I'm going to use a little bit of Got To Be Oilicious styling oil, and I'm just going to use a tiny little bit of this. I'm just going to work this through the ends because that's where the hair needs the most moisture. It kind of leaves a really nice shine on the hair once we've dried it. And for the roots and mid-lengths, I'm going to use a little bit of Got To Be Guardian Angel. It's a heat protector, which we like, and it also adds a lovely shine to the hair once we start with the styling process. And now I'm going to get my hairdryer and blast dry Hayley's hair. And now I just want to work a little bit of texture into the hair with a large set of tongs. And I'm going to do this really quick in really chunky sections, but just to kind of give us a little bit of a bend to the hair and to kind of create some volume around the upper part of the head. So I've just given the hair that slight bend, and now I'm going to use a little bit of this Got to Be mind-blowing hairspray, and I'm just going to use a small amount of it on the roots. This is a great hairspray because it dries really, really fast, and it's got a very fine mist, which is brilliant to style it and also to finish it with. And I'm just using it in the roots to kind of create a little bit of oomph where we want it and to mess up the texture. And then through the ends, I'm going to use the Got to Be Rise and Shine Souffle, a very small amount this time. I'm going to rub that into my hands, and then I'm just going to shake that through the ends and mid-lengths, just to give the ends a little bit of definition and to kind of enhance that slightly messy, slept-in look. And here we have an example of how to wear your hair in a cool way, but inspired by the catwalks. For Hayley's second look, I'm going to create a messy ponytail, which is also something we've seen a lot on the catwalks. And to start off this hairstyle, I'm going to use a little bit of this Got to Be mind-blowing express spray. It's a fantastic product just because it makes the hair dry a lot faster, and Hayley has got so much hair, so we get to save some time here. It's got a heat protector in it, and it detangles and conditions the hair while we dry it. So I'm just going to apply some throughout the hair. And now I'm going to use the hairdryer, and I'm just going to rough dry Hayley's hair until it's almost dry. Next, I'm going to use Got to Be Beach Matte Texturizing Salt Spray. It's a really nice product just because it enhances the natural texture in the hair. So I'm just going to apply a little bit over the surface of the hair, just like that. That's already enough. And now, with the hairdryer, I'm taking some chunky sections, like this one. It's a good start. And I'm twisting it in a backwards motion, and now I'm going to put the hairdryer on it just to dry the product in a little bit. So I've just finished twisting the last section. I can already feel how the beach matte spray has worked on the hair. It's given me a little bit of a soft texture and some nice waves. But I'm now going to shake out the hair a little bit, like that, so you can actually see how it worked with the twisting. And it's a brilliant technique just because you don't need any heat appliances other than a hairdryer. So it's a very gentle way of drying the hair and getting a little bit of movement into it. Just want to start working on my ponytail. So I'm moving all the hair off the face, but I'm just going to rake my fingers through it like a big comb. I want to fish out a couple of soft pieces around the face, like that, and I'm kind of working a little bit of texture back into the hair. Same thing on the other side. I'm working a little bit of height around the crown. And now, if you just turn all the way around, and I'm just going to twist it in a downwards motion. So it's like an upside down pleat. And what that does is, it makes the ponytail sit really nice and flat against the nape. And now, all it needs is a couple of pins and grips. We don't want it too tight, we want to keep that kind of rough texture in there. But to keep it all in place, I'm going to finish off with a little bit of the Got to Be mind-blowing hairspray. And I really like it just because it dries really quickly into the hair and it doesn't really show up. Right, and here we have it. Another hairstyle that we've seen on the catwalks, and we are showing you how to make it street-friendly and wear it out there.
Hayley, it's great. I love what it's done. It's given you much more richness and shine and quality back to the hair. The colour mask really seems to have updated that whole ombre look for you.
And I so enjoyed doing those two hairstyles on Hayley just because it was a nice way of finding something that we've seen on the catwalks a lot and how to translate that style and make it something that is street friendly.